Contrails or chemtrails. With every new day there seems to be more controversy about chemtrails, or what are normally called contrails. The controversy isn't about the contrails, it is about contrails that don't seem to go away, or dissipate. These contrails that seem to hang on for dear life actually expand and then in many cases cover the whole sky. This is what is causing the controversy. There have been investigations into the contents of these chemtrails, and one of the ingredients that has been found is barium, a highly toxic and sometimes deadly metal. In reality, contrails don't form from jet engines unless the plane is above 25,000 feet or more. However, many contrails are seen being formed when the jet plane is far lower than 25,000 feet. At 25,000 feet you wouldn't be able to determine what company the plane was from, but many people that see these chemtrails report that they were able to see the logo on the plane, and some even claim that they could see the tail number, even though they couldn't read it, it was somewhat visible. That would mean that these planes are far below 25,000 feet. According to a recent report on the air quality in Phoenix, Arizona, the ingredients in the air that those folks breathe are staggering. Here's the list. Cadmium is 126 times the toxic limit. Chromium is 282 times the toxic limit. Nickel is 169 times the toxic limit. Aluminum is a staggering 6,400 times the toxic limit. Iron is 28,000 times the toxic limit. Magnesium is 5.3 times the toxic limit. Potassium is 793 times the toxic limit. Sodium is 15.9 times the toxic limit. Barium is 278 times the toxic limit. Copper is 98 times the toxic limit. Manganese is a staggering 5,820 times the toxic limit. Zinc is 593 times the toxic limit. Contrails should dissipate in just a few minutes, not expand and cover the sky. Contrails are water vapor like you see coming out of the exhaust pipe of your car on a very cold day. In reality, when you look at these photos, would you really want to fly, knowing that there are so many planes in such small spaces? Most people don't take the time, or watch the skies for chemtrails, but you can even see them on TV if you watch the HGTV network. Just tune into their House Hunters programs and watch the background for chemtrails, they are there. From prisonplanet.com back in February of 2013. On Tuesday, former Vice President Al Gore appeared on Ellen DeGeneres' NBC daytime talk show and admitted that scientists have proposed programs intended to figure out a way to block out the sun, an effort many argue is already underway via the chemtrail program. Here's a short transcript of some of the interview. Ellen, there's a rumor, I don't know if this is true or not, that some scientists are trying to figure out a way to block the sun to try to slow down global warming. Al Gore, it's a measure of the feeling of desperation that some of them feel. Ellen, are they really thinking they can do that? Gore, well, some of them are seriously proposing, and I think it's completely nuts. You know, you put another kind of pollution, sulfur dioxide, up to orbit, cover the atmosphere, the sky won't be really blue in the way it is now, but it would block out some of the sun's heat so that we wouldn't have to take the difficult steps to stop spewing all this global warming pollution into the atmosphere. Gore, and of course, there are a lot of problems with what they're proposing. It turns out plants need sunlight. Ellen, yes. Gore, it wouldn't stop the acidification of the oceans, and it really should be yet another wake-up call for why we need to stop putting all this pollution out there. We put 90 million tons every day up there, and that's what's drying out the soil, that's what's contributing to the worsening of these fires in the West Nile virus worst outbreak ever last year, Superstorm Sandy. End of quote. You may all remember Superstorm Sandy that wiped out much of the coast in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Our countries even use their citizens for experiments, and here's the proof. The UK admits to using this type of tool from 1940 to 1979. From TheGuardian.com back in 2002. The Ministry of Defense turned large parts of the country into a giant laboratory to conduct a series of secret germ warfare tests on the public. A government report just released provides for the first time a comprehensive official history of Britain's biological weapons trials between 1940 and 1979. Many of these tests involved releasing potentially dangerous chemicals and microorganisms over vast swaths of the population without the public being told. While details of some secret trials have emerged in recent years, the 60-page report reveals new information about more than 100 covered experiments. The report reveals that military personnel were briefed to tell any inquisitive inquirer the trials were part of research projects into weather and air pollution. The tests, carried out by government scientists at Porton Down, were designed to help them assess Britain's vulnerability if the Russians were to have released clouds of deadly germs over the country. So, do you think that chemtrails are still in our imagination? If you do, you need to do more research, and by that we mean with your eyes on the skies. Look around you, life is not what the government says it is. The governments of this world are in cahoots with the devil, some would say. Perhaps that's not too far from the truth.